start now.
Yeah, I think we should start.
Okay. So, very good evening to everyone present over here. For welcome to the travel talk of TravStack. First of all, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today, and special thanks to our guest speaker, Ms. Kadambari, for making this session happen. I am Ishita from TravStack, and I would like to give a brief introduction about TravStack first. We are a travel technology company based in India and Singapore. We are providing ready to adapt SaaS with tools for digital and growth needed for travel businesses. We work with tour operators, travel agents, bloggers, and many other travel businesses. Our solutions include white label travel stores, sales CRM, itinerary builder, and other automation tools. So, as you all are already aware about today's topic, that is exploring Southeast Asia. So, we'll be starting with Kadambari's journey through these countries, and we'll know about the travel tips and some content creation advices from her. And at the end of the webinar, we will have a Q&A session where you can ask your questions. And other than that, if you have any questions in between the webinar, feel free to type them in the chat box. So without further ado, now I would like to introduce our speaker for the day, Ms. Kadambari Bhatte. She is a digital creator and a travel writer. Kadambari is originally from Mumbai and she did her initial studies there. Later, she moved to Sydney for higher studies, which she considers as a second home. And currently, she has been in Singapore for the past 4 years. And you all will be amazed to know that she didn't started in the career of her dreams. She was a corporate lawyer at a legal practice earlier. Even then, she used to travel, but she always wanted to do something in the travel industry. And later, she started following her passion, that is traveling. She loves writing a lot, which she learned from her legal career only, and she believes writing is the best way to express herself. She is associated with Tripoto for the past 2 years. She's a staff writer there. Also, she started writing with Singapore Tourism Board, and currently she has been with Australia Tourism Board. And the amazing thing to know is she has traveled over 40 countries, and she's an eco-friendly traveler. Other than that, she's a great storyteller and tour guide as well. So, Kadambari, now we would love to hear about your story and journey regarding your travel through Southeast Asia and how it all started. So, over to you.
Hi, Shida. Firstly, hi everyone, and thank you joining on a precious Saturday afternoon. I really appreciate that. And thanks for the lovely introduction. I think you really told everything about me in a very nice gist there, Ishita. From my side, hi again. I'm Kadambari Bhatte. I am a frequent traveler. I'm a travel writer, content creator, and like Ishita mentioned, I have been traveling for a long, long time now. I think it's been 20 years since I was pretty young. I started exploring India a lot. And I, of course, started with my family. I think it comes from my family because my dad loves traveling. We didn't have much money, but we used to go on road trips close by from Bombay, or they used to send me on like budget trips with their family friends. So I think that's where I caught that travel bug, even though I did not fully understand that what I really wanted. But as I started growing up, I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I didn't know how, but I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And here I am today. I've left my legal career and I took the leap of faith, and I'm a travel writer and creating content for you guys. So that's me in a gist.
That's actually really amazing, and you are an inspiration for a lot of travelers, and like it's really good to know. And
Thanks.
so yeah, so now I would like Khatika to take over the stage and start with a question and answer session for the webinar. Over to you, Khatika.
Thank you, Ashita. And it is a great pleasure to have such a stunning freebird personality with us on our webinar today. Thank you, Kadambari, for joining us. And I feel so glad to see such a lovely audience with us. Thank you guys for connecting us today. I know it's your weekend. Don't worry, we won't bore you on your weekend. That's my promise to you for sure. So without any further delay, we start with our most interactive part, that is the Q&A session. So my first question for Kadambari is, what do you adore about travel in Southeast Asia?
I think it's the ease of traveling to different countries, and it's not too far. For example, if you have to go to Europe or America, especially from India or anywhere in Asia, it's way too far. Southeast Asia, you don't need visa for many countries. It's cheaper. The service is really good. It's value for money. It's made for everybody. It can be budget or luxury or eco travel, anything. So I feel like the ease of travel within Southeast Asia is really, really good, and that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Yes. So Kadambari, you just mentioned that you were a corporate lawyer.
Yeah.
So from being a corporate lawyer and entering this industry, this is such a dynamic industry. So my question is to you is, what has been your biggest challenge as a travel influencer? And did you find any misconception behind it?
Um, Firstly, the challenges have been very personal to start with. Leaving, I mean, we always brought up in a certain way, and we have been always told that being a lawyer or doctor or accountant or any of the mainstream professions, if you work in that and if you earn money, you have made it in life. And that was stuck to me throughout. But then somewhere or the other, I knew that this is not, I mean, although I love love, but this is not what really gives me satisfaction. So to start on a personal front, the acceptance of leaving that career and jumping into something new that is so challenging and full of competition was the biggest hurdle. So I think I answered your half of your first question.
Yes, truly.
The second one was
What was the misconception behind it? Like, what people think you would like to clarify?
I think people think that it's very easy. It's just time pass. You know, you're just taking photos and you're just writing stories, and but they don't know the struggle behind it because there's so many people and talented people out there, deserving people that you have to. It's not a rat race. You don't want to do the same thing that you have been doing in a 9 to 5 job, but you also want to stand out. So you have to work really hard. The misconception has always been, oh, you must be getting everything for, from the hotels to the food to stay. But no, initially when you start, you have to prove yourself. For that, you need to invest in it for people to actually see that you're worth it. So that's a certain type of misconception from my experience.
You actually very right pointed out, like every Indian parents wants their child to be a doctor, lawyer. So I'm very agree with that point. So my next question is, like, you are currently residing in Singapore for the past 4 years. Am I right?
Yes.
So how are you supporting your lifestyle since Singapore is a very expensive country?
Definitely, Singapore is very expensive. But so when I moved here from Sydney, I was still working as a lawyer, as a consultant. And after I moved here, and it was almost 10 years since I was working as a lawyer. So I made sure, I knew somewhere that I'm not going to do this forever. So I made sure I had my savings and investments. And also, on the other hand, I was still working here. So before leaving the job and getting into content creation, I started that side by side. When I had a bit of confidence that yes, I can do this and I have the caliber, and I would keep learning things on the side on weekends, attending webinars or attending workshops. That's when I knew that I can leave it. And after that, when I start getting brands, I work with Singapore brands here. So that's how
That's great.
Yeah.
That's actually very great. You know, from last 2 3 years, especially during the lockdown and the pandemic, all over a sudden, people have now started investing their more time into this content creation, right? So what things they should keep in mind while delivering their content for, especially for a brand collaboration?
Firstly, there are three things. First is you need to know your niche and you need to stick to your niche. Either you're a travel content creator or a lifestyle creator or you're just an entertainer. There are many niches. Stick to one. Don't just jumble up everything together. That is how you will keep getting brand collaborations. When certain brands connect with you that, okay, she is travel related and we are a tourism board, we will approach her, or vice versa. If I approach them, they know that I can deliver and work for them after they check my work. Second being that you always have to be consistent and never give up. Since, like the way you said, there are many people who have gotten into content creation since COVID. I don't think people have gotten into content creation because of COVID. I think COVID was somewhere people got a lot of time and they recognized their strengths, and they started practicing it the way I have, and that's how they automatically got into it. It wasn't because everyone else is doing, which is why I want to do it. I feel like there was an eye opener, and everyone just wanted to follow their heart because we all realized that this life is short. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow to me, so let me just do what I love, but keeping in mind that I'm getting paid. If not right away, eventually, which is why consistency is a point number two is extremely important. You have to keep going and working hard and learning from wherever you can. Just like I said before, webinars or workshops or meeting, collaborating with local people, meeting fellow photographers or writers, or joining clubs. Don't doubt your skills at all. Just go ahead. Especially for introverts, like I am not a very extroverted person. I had to come out of my shell and tell myself that if I want to do this, I have to train myself. Nobody else is going to do it. So I feel like it's a mixture of many things, but it comes down to consistency. And third point being that know your value.
That's
No matter,
absolutely right.
yeah. So we always think that I have just started. I've just come in the industry. Maybe I'll just settle for less. Don't settle for less. Know your worth. Do your research. Know how much the other creators are getting paid who are of your level. Don't compare yourself with, for example, if you have 5,000 followers, don't compare yourself with somebody who has 100K. Probably they have been doing this for 10 years and you have just been doing it for 2 years. Although you could be much more talented, but end of the day, what brands see is how many followers you have, what's your engagement. So knowing that, don't compare yourself, but just do your research and know how much you should be getting paid and what is fair, and stick to it and learn the skill of negotiation for that. And it's always scary, but you're used to it. So
Like,
yeah, these are the three main
risk
things.
something. You have to take a risk something, I guess. That's
Yeah.
the whole point.
Yeah.
And knowing yourself is one of the priority, I guess.
Yes. You just have to back yourself up. Nobody else is going to do it because it's like a one-man show. Unless you work in a company which is going to talk for you and negotiate for you and do things for you. But if you want to do it on your own, no one else will do it, and you have to. That's all.
You have to be a leader in life and leader in your job, I guess.
Yeah, that's it.
So what do you prefer, like long form of content or short form of content? I mean, long term means blog or vlogs are short forms like posting a reel on Instagram and such.
Um, so since I started as a travel writer and I've always loved writing since I was young, I have to be biased and say I love writing articles.
Okay.
That's where I can express myself, give full information to the reader, convey my experiences, and probably inspire somebody somewhere on the way. But because we are in the content creation field, I love creating reels, and it's fun. Also, I love taking photos and videos. So making short feeds and giving information to people who love or have a short span attention span is important, and also writing for people who want to sit down and research and plan their itinerary is important. Although I love, so conclusion is, although I love writing
You love
articles,
writing.
but because we have to keep in mind both the audiences, also love creating reels. It's fun.
Yeah, it's totally fun.
Yeah.
And so, Southeast Asia is the fast growing travel market, right? And what, according to you, what is the one thing they have absolutely nailed it perfectly in tourism, which India could adapt?
Honestly, I think India is pretty good if you want to compare Southeast Asia market. But i- if it's only comes down to the point that I want to go out of India. Okay, I'm bored of traveling in India and I want to see the blue waters of Thailand, or I want to see the temples of Bali. And in that, if I want to still say, okay, what's better? I think is the service. It's excellent. It's, I feel like they just know how to please you, and that's what a tourist or a traveler wants. End of the day, they just want, like, to feel special. And I'm not saying Indian tourism does not have it, they do, but probably it's not in all the parts of India yet. But with younger generation traveling a lot more, especially after COVID, I feel like we are coming up on that front as well. So I wouldn't say India lacks anywhere. We are improving, and I think we are very good in our service.
Yes, that's true, but we have to get that, we have to match that level, I guess.
We have to, and I think it's about marketing as well.
Yeah.
Like we just like it's about every state. They just need to market themselves or tie up with influencers or the younger generation more and more in order to get, and which is happening now, which is what I've noticed.
Absolutely
I'm
right.
writing a lot more about India recently. Um, yeah, but it's just the service factor and also the value for money. Um, so a lot of resorts that you would go to India, sometimes they charge a certain number of, for example, they're charging 10,000 rupees. And I go to Bali and I go to a resort, I could go to a much better resort and pay much less, let's say 2,000 rupees per day. So I think there that competitive factor comes in, and we have to consider airfare. But then end of the day, then people are like, oh, then I'm going out of India and experiencing something different. Why wouldn't I do that? So yeah, that's
Yeah,
that's one factor.
that's factor even I think sometimes.
Yeah.
So I guess it's common
Yes.
and I'm not different. Okay. So since you just mentioned Thailand, okay. So Thailand is positioned as a very chill vibe bachelor destination. Like, so according to you, what places would you suggest to a female group of traveler or a couple traveler in Southeast Asia?
Okay, Thailand could be perceived as a bachelor's place, but it is still possible to go there with your girlfriends, have like a quick girls trip, or even go with your partner. I mean, but it just depends on what kind of island, which place you go to. I mean, if you end up going only to Bangkok, then you probably may not enjoy it thoroughly. But if you go to other islands like Koh Samui or Krabi or Fifi Island, it's perfect for couples as well. But still, answering your question, I think Bali is an ultimate place for every kind of traveler, not just girls or couples. It could be anyone, even families, because it has different parts where you can do different things. It's not just temples or it's not just waterfalls or nature, and it's not just beach. So as a honeymoon couple, I could, suggest you to go to a resort and just chill there. Or as a group of girls, I could tell you go snorkeling, or then 2 days go waterfall, or just go to spas. So I feel like Bali is an ultimate. It's amazing.
Okay, so like if you think about Bali, like if I think about Bali and all, so there is one thing that will come to my mind, that is safety.
Yeah.
So what tips you would like to give to a female group of travelers?
Um, Firstly, do your research when you're planning a trip. Don't just pick a country because somebody else went there. Pick a country because it appealed to you, and then before booking anything or going with any tours, do your own research. Does this really appeal to me? And what is the crime rate where I'm going? May it be solo or even for guys, not just girls. May it be solo or with a group of friends. It's all about research. So, for example, okay, Mexico is not in Southeast Asia, but when I traveled to Mexico, everywhere it was written that if you go there, there are chances that you might get kidnapped or killed, and it was scary, obviously. But then, when I did my research, I realized that there are few areas in Mexico which you should not enter. So, like even when you go to Bombay or any other city, if you enter a certain area you're not familiar with, you might just end up getting thugged. Is the same thing. So we did not just enter that area, and we were okay, and it was one of the best trips of our life. So it's the same thing when it comes to travel. Make sure that, for example, if you have read that if you stay in a certain place, it's scary at night, don't roam around there in the night. But if a certain place is 100% safe, just make sure you have like emergency numbers with you. You have told a friend that I'm going here. If you're on a solo trip, I'm going to go to this X place, and this is my itinerary. These are my bookings. If something happens, if I don't answer your calls or don't reply to your text, if I don't get back to you, just make sure that I'm okay. A few very simple tips you just have to keep in mind.
Don't be so overconfident. Like
Yeah,
everyone will
anywhere in the world. Yeah.
be. That's I will surely take. And yeah. What is this like 4 more interesting content writing tips you would like to give that no one has ever given till yet? You will be the special one. So.
I don't think I will have some inventive tips that no one has anyone ever given. But yeah, I would just say that stay consistent. Again, I would come boil down to consistency and try. Second is try to do something different out of the box. Study. Okay, let's say you are on Instagram and you love photography and you love to put photos there. Study, follow people of your similar niche or maybe of a bigger following, learn from them, study what they are doing, and keep doing that. Yeah, and next is try and connect as much as you can on your own with different brands because nobody is going to automatically discover you. They need to know that you exist. And for that, you need to step out of your comfort zone and just send cold emails or send DMs or try to collaborate. That's how.
Be frank, open, just go with the flow. Not go with the flow, but yeah, whatever comes, just go.
Yeah, I mean, just don't need. If you and fear is very important. Like if you are scared, you will know how to overcome it and learn it. But if you're overconfident, you will never know your flaws. And knowing your flaws in content creation is extremely important because this is a business that's you're always evolving. You'll never ever be, even if you're the best of the best, there will always be something that you may think or your audience may think. So you always have to be connected with your fellow audience or your fellow content creators and know that you have to reach out to brands to be something. Yeah.
I like your last point, scaring one and the overconfident one, which I always follow in my life too. Yeah, that's it. There's a question from Monica. Any tips on networking with locals while traveling or experience local stuff? What worked for you?
Networking with local, do you mean to say just while traveling, just connecting with locals or for a purpose as a content creator? Is that what you mean, Monica?
Yeah, hi. I meant like when you're doing slow travel and you want to experience the local stuff. So yeah, just like interacting with locals in general.
Yeah, so basically connecting is, so for example, if you've gone somewhere for a vacation, you know, just be a little kind and talk to the, if you go to a cafe regular, talk to the people who are working there. That's how you will get to know their local lifestyle. You know, one or two will always open up, and then you can ask for tips on about the place, or what, you know, what's the best thing to do there. Or for example, if you have hired a driver for your on your car, talk to him. You know, because a lot of the times they know insider tips
Yeah.
than you have researched on the internet. So basically, just go ahead and, I mean, don't be over friendly, but then just gauge it that okay, this seems safe, that I can just, you know, talk for 2 3 minutes and
Right.
learn something from them.
Yeah, I
So
think
yeah,
the drivers has definitely good
yeah,
information on places.
yes, yeah, yeah.
So, have you tried like couch surfing or generally, for example, you're staying at a place for a month or so, right? And you want to meet like local people and make friends, something like that. Then,
Yeah.
in that case, how would you go about it?
So it depends on what type of traveler you are. If you're a budget, then I would suggest hostels, because hostels have co-working spaces. But I always prefer connecting with a fellow content creator or a friend who's willing to come with me and go on a vacation. That way we can collaborate on certain things. So, yeah, for example, if I'm a writer and that person's a photographer, we can connect with a certain brand and create something. And traveling with somebody who's like-minded helps you divide, you know, the rent of the place, the apartment, or anything that you've hired. So that's, yeah, one of my ways.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip in terms of backpacking hostels. You meet a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Monica, for asking such a great question. Uh, Kadambari, you have just mentioned that uh, you are connected to Singapore Tourism Board and Australia, right? So, how your journey lead to Singapore?
Okay, so how did I Singapore? Is that all, or are you asking anything else?
I will also ask.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah. So my second question is that also how you started working with Singapore Tourism Board and Australian one. If you could just walk us through that.
Um,
Kind of very exciting to me. So
I know. So, firstly, how did I come to Singapore is work, uh, you know, for work, and then just ended up here. And also, my husband was willing to move here for work. So, it helped us. We loved Singapore, we love Southeast Asia, we love Australia, but then it's easier to travel from here. So that's how I came here. And coming to Singapore Tourism Board, actually, because I'm a staff writer with Tripoto, and because I write a lot of articles, my first ever collab with Singapore to STB was covering the art festival on Instagram. I didn't even work with them as a writer first. And after that, they noticed me and I became the Singapore expert. And whatever articles they have, they would prefer me to write it. Thank God. I mean, I've loved that. And same with Australia Tourism Board. I asked Tripoto if I could pitch to Australia Tourism Board, and you know I could be the one because Australia is my second home since I know a lot about that country, and they agreed, and that's why I started working with them too.
that's so super. And like to me, it's very inspiring actually. Like
Thank you.
you just connected, and you just mentioned that you love writing. So I think that is the thing, that is the first priority that have led to your whole
That's
actually
yeah,
full journey out of it.
yeah.
Actually, very inspiring. You.
Thanks, Kat.
So the second question is, which is your favorite destination in Southeast Asia?
Hmm. It's hard to pick, but I have to say Bali again. I've been there, I think, 6 times now, and every time I've been there, I've discovered something new. and also because it's so easy, especially if you're a vegetarian and you don't need a lot of meat. Southeast Asia can be difficult to find veg options, so that's one place where you don't have to worry at all, and it's also affordable. So if one night I stay in a luxury place, the other times I can still stay in a nice average costing villa, but it wouldn't make create a hole in my pocket. And yeah, I just love Bali.
If I ask you to pick 4 favorite destinations, like favorite places in Southeast Asia, what will be?
First, I
4.
think it's Singapore
Okay.
for its safety and so efficient. So if you are planning a 4-day trip to Singapore, you're all sorted. Like it is extremely convenient. You're safe. You have all the food. You have lots of Indian food as well, so you won't miss home as much.
Okay.
Second, I love Indonesia, especially Bali. And Indonesia, because all the islands are really beautiful and they're untouched. Third country would be Vietnam. Again, it's beautiful, it has its own charm. And fourth, that's a difficult choice, Philippines. The Filipino islands are amazing, and it's worth going there at least once in your lifetime. Yeah.
Thank you, Ishita, and thank you for actually putting it into 4 category. I know it for you it will be like 10, 20. And, yeah. So, being a travel content writer, okay. So, what are the skills that they need required?
To be a writer or
Yeah,
just
how to like,
uh,
care
I
of
think
the skills.
every writer has their own style. So, first, you need to understand what your style is. Are you conversing with the audience, or are you a descriptive writer, or are you an informative writer? It takes time, but with practice, once you know what type of, for example, I love to talk to my audience. I like to write the way I'm talking to you. I don't want to just give out jargon and finish that. So once you know what type of a writer you are, and any in any niche, travel or lifestyle, it could be any products, anything, stick to it and work on it.
That's why I found out your blogs are similar to vlogs. Like how on blogging people just explain whatever they're happening in their life. Same wise you explain each and everything in your blog. So I guess that's how you are, a free bird.
I like how you say free bird. I like that.
Yeah, because to be a woman it's tough, and to be like travel around the world and exploring 40 plus countries, I'm really inspired from you right now, and I would
Thanks.
love to meet you
That
also.
really means a lot. And you're right. It is tough to be a woman and then travel, especially on your own, and then not care about what the society says, because the society has a lot to contribute to everything that you do.
Yeah.
But like I said, just know what you want to do and just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, Santosh have a question. What are the must-have travel gears with you while traveling?
What are the must-have travel gear with you while traveling? Thanks, Santosh, for this question. Ah, what is a must-have? It has nothing a must-have as such. I try to pack light. I try. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but obviously my my camera has to be there. A lot of the trips I avoid taking tripods. I just hate carrying it around, but that's a must-have gear with me. My sports shoes have to always be with me because I love hiking, trekking, and wherever I go and walk a lot. Water bottle, because if you want to be eco-friendly traveler, it's best to not use even a normal traveler. Just don't use the plastic bottles. Try get a refill from restaurants and also water bottles, just one, and some snacks. Yeah, that these are the main things.
So you are an adventurous person because you like hiking.
No, I'm also a bit scared of heights and stuff, but I love nature. So I just tell myself, just go for it. It's okay. It's just 3 days. Just go for it. So
Yeah. So what are the planning trips you would like to give? Like how do you manage your expenses and for a beginner?
okay, every time you have to start with a budget. That this is my budget. Okay, I have 15,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees, and I want to go to India. Uh, can I do it? That's a question number one. Don't just decide I am going, and then because then you are in a pool, you will keep spending money. So first is your budget. Second is jotting down 2 to 3 countries. If for example, if I can't go to number one, am I okay to go to number two? If I can't go to the second one, can I go to the third one? And it all depends on your air ticket prices, your visa prices, how much you have to pay on the accommodation there, and you will find a lot of blogs on internet. So just do quick researches on how much will I need to spend per day in, let's say, Boracay Island in Philippines versus how much would I need in Siam Reap in Cambodia. And if I like, I'm okay with both of the places and one of them is cheaper because I'm on a budget travel and I'm a beginner, then I will pick one out of that. Because second place is not running away. It's always going to be there. I can go there maybe next year once I've saved more money. So pick that and then start your research. Your research always have to be strong. If you're not taking help of any other person and if you're doing it on your own, research means blogs. You find a lot of itineraries on the internet. Even a lot of reels nowadays have all the information. Give time to that and book your air tickets well in advance on a weekday. Don't book it on a weekend. It'll just and I think that everyone knows you have to be in incognito mode. So book your air tickets. That's it. I think this is the main basic things you have to be aware of.
I will apply to for me. I'm not into this so much of writing like you, but yeah, I like to express myself. So
Yeah.
there's a question from Madhusmita. Can you suggest some platforms where we can learn content creation, editing, and camera skills?
So nowadays there are many portals like Udemy, Skillshare, and they charge minimal amount, for their courses. So I would say on weekend, if you have a 9 to 5 job, consider taking a course, like an hour course on a weekend. Also, a lot of Facebook groups. There are many Facebook groups where like-minded people join and they share each other's tips. Thirdly, follow content creators who you like because a lot of times they give out tips, or you would just learn by observation, by observing what they are doing. What kind of, for example, if it's a reel, what kind of songs are they picking? How much are they writing in the caption? What hashtags are they using? So that works.
I hope uh, has answered the question. And you just mentioned like you love nature, like you're adventurous, very sweet to nature and all. So you are very close to and all this stuff. So what are the tips as an eco-friendly traveler you would like to give?
Okay, being an eco-friendly traveler doesn't mean you have to live in a hut and be very basic. There are very few things you can start with. First, is start at home. Uh, Try and don't use plastic. Use paper. This will sound like a lecture, but these are very basic and minimal things. Once you start practicing at home, you will automatically do when you're traveling. Like you'll refuse plastic. You won't take it if you already refuse it when you're living in your own city. Second is try and support local brands and not the big ones. I mean, of course, we love buying the fast fashion brands, but they create a lot of junk in the end. And try and shop less. Also, in a way, you are saving more for your travel, so it's a win-win. Thirdly, try and book eco-friendly places. And a lot of the times, eco-friendly places are also affordable. There are two types of eco-friendly places. Either it's a high-end luxury resort, and they are recycling their water and recycling their everything, and that's why you have to pay more. But there is also other side, which is like an Airbnb, and it's very simple and it's homely, and you're just staying.
Bali is doing that, the first criteria that you.
Yeah, that's right. So, basic things that you can do, like if, for example, if you love getting coffee, you love cafes, and you know you're going on vacation and you're going to go to cafes every single day, carry your cup. You know the reusable coffee cups that you get. A lot of cafes also give you discount if you carry that cup. So you don't have to drink expensive coffee. Even if you go to local shop, you're going there every single day. You know that, and they give you either a plastic cup or if you can take your own cup, do it. Like simple things like that.
Yeah, we will apply it to, like, I will do it. And there is another question from Monica. Could you walk through travel consultants process you do? Why is it crucial to have a travel planner or advisor, and how it helps your clients?
Um, so if you are somebody who's not a frequent traveler, there are some people who just travel once in a year. They are not really travelers, they're tourists. Their only agenda is we want to change. I'm going to take 2 weeks off and I'm going to travel somewhere and I want to change. For them, that's where you step in as a travel planner or an advisor, because for example, Southeast Asia, I know if you're coming to Singapore, I know that there are certain places which you won't find anywhere on the internet. Only a local can tell you that you want to save money. Okay, you go to this cafe, but it's amazing. You want to know about Instagram worthy spots? Go here. Nobody's going to tell you that you can go here. You want to save money, this is how you can, by staying in such a place, which is where I think that that's where I help the clients. And a lot of people with kids really don't know if I can really travel with my kid to Bali. I had recently 2, 3 women who approached me, and I said, you absolutely can, but you need to avoid certain things, and everything else you can do with your children. Yes, that's where it really helps people.
Thank you, Monica, for putting such a good question. There is another question. Can you tell about the nomadic living, visa requirements, opportunities in Southeast Asia?
So nomadic living. I am sure. What do you mean that as a backpacker, Ishita? As nomadic living?
Yeah, these are the questions from the.
Yeah, actually, we received it from one of our attendee only. So it's mainly related to the backpacking.
Okay. So if you're a backpacker and if you, in terms of earning money, you can work in local places like cafes, and there are NGOs where you can work and earn minimal amount if you want to support your day-to-day life. And visa requirements, it depends from country to country, honestly. Like Bali didn't have visa fees earlier, now they charge 35 USD. Thailand has increased their visa, they are charging 2000 Thai baht now. So, visa requirements and their basic requirements, you just need to have your passport in hand, which needs to be minimum 6 months, 3 pages or 2 pages empty, and have a good, don't have any police records. And most of the Southeast Asia countries, you can get visa on arrival. But if it's a country like Singapore, they would ask for your bank statements. So you need to research in advance to know how much money I would need in my bank for the visa, for that visa before I get it. That's about it. Depends on the country you're choosing. And opportunities in Southeast Asia, in terms of a like backpacking person, is that what you mean, Ishita?
Yeah.
Again, you work with NGO, but if you come to Singapore, you won't be allowed to work, right? But what you can do is, if you're a freelancer, you can still write or you can still create content, and you can connect with the local brands there, and that's how you can earn for every post, every reel, or every article. That's which is an amazing thing as a content creator. Any country you go to, you just there are many people who are traveling to Singapore lately since Singapore's opened and have been messaging me, can we collaborate on a certain thing? I'm traveling to Singapore for this these many days. So that's an amazing trick to connect with locals and at the same time earn through your posts. Does that answer your that question, Ishita?
Yeah, I hope Madhu Smita actually asked this, so I hope that has
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
There's
Second is any language barrier and safety and comfort to travel with family. Language barrier, a lot of Southeast Asian countries, not everyone is fluent in English. And so you have to be very patient with them. You just have to slow down your sentences. And and the accents, you may not understand it initially like any other accent in the world. So you just have to be patient and try to learn a few basic words before you go to a certain place, like good morning, good evening, hello, bye, and be respectful to them. um, that's about the language. Safety and comfort to travel with family. Choose a place that is family friendly. So don't choose a place that's only made for adventurous people or hiking or trekking. Choose a place that where you can take your children, where you can relax. So set your priorities right. And again about safety, you just need to research on internet about the place. Is it safe for me to travel here? And any place can be safe and unsafe depending on where you. So yeah.
That's very true. It actually depends on the traveler.
Yeah.
There's one more question from Pearl. After COVID, do you think people as a tourist now travels in a more responsible way?
Hmm. People were initially because they were scared, but now everything has come back to normal. So I feel like everyone is because they think that we don't know when things might close down again. They are just traveling the way they want to. Um, I don't think anything has changed really as much.
I hope, Pearl, your question has been answered. Uh, I have heard a lot about Indonesia that they have something, they are into drugs and all that, a negative side of it, right?
Yeah.
So one of my professor has went to one of the islands in Indonesia
Yeah.
where his like he had faced that crime rates and all of this,
Okay.
and after that the like his feedback was not so good.
Yeah.
So if you could just tell us those islands so that we can be more safer towards it,
Yeah.
because like Indian parents would not prefer Indonesia. Like they have some market, some image through it, a negative one.
Yeah, so Indonesia, for if you want to take your parents like elderly people or as a family, Bali is good. But again, Bali also has a side where any place you go, there are always going to be peddlers or people who are doing something wrong. Yeah. So like I said, for example, there's a beach called Kuta in Bali. Don't go there in the night because for sure people will come to you and approach you for drugs. And that's not what you are there for. That's not what you want to do because rules in Indonesia are extremely strict when it comes to drugs. You would just end up going in jail and stuff like that. So, with family, again, when you're picking a place, make sure you're staying in an area which is family friendly, hotel that's family friendly, and your itinerary is family friendly. And if you know somebody who's gone there already, or if you come through any article, make sure you avoid places where maybe a lot of backpackers go, but because that is not going to be suitable for people with kids unless they want to backpack with kids. And if you come across anything like that, just avoid it, move out of that area because that is not the correct way. Move out of it and go somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Because I had a very negative image of Indonesia. Like you have a peddler and all, so it scared me after listening to him. But yeah, after you, I will visit Indonesia. There is one more question from Monica. Yeah. That's amazing to hear about offbeat places like Insta Cafe and child-friendly places from travel experts like during the planning process. Okay, so it's a comment.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mon.
There's one more question. How's cruise life in Singapore?
Cruise life. You mean cruise to nowhere or just normal cruising? So there are two things here. One thing which started during COVID, which is cruise to nowhere, which is amazing. And the cruise tourism, which is run by the same companies. There are two companies mainly here. It's very good. People love to go on cruises, but there's also a scare because if in case there is a COVID case, then you have to be quarantined along with the entire group. So it is picking up, but not as much as it was before. I hope that answers your question.
I guess it too. There's one more question. How is the connectivity if you're traveling to remote places in Indonesia or other South Asian countries?
So connectivity is quite good. You can just take it within Indonesia. You can hire, drivers or join like research agents which take you from A to B. And in Southeast Asia, it's quite easy to get flights within Southeast Asia. You just have to make sure you check if you need a transit visa if you're not entering a certain country and if you're going somewhere else. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty good. But just check the visa requirements. That's the most important part for Indian passport.
Okay, there is one more question from Santosh. Have you been to Cambodia? Any recommendation?
Yes, I have been to Cambodia. The temples there are beautiful, but to be honest, if you are from India, you have seen ample of temples. Although Angkor Wat, that's the biggest and one of the ancient temples, but it didn't shock me because if you have explored Indian part where there are temples and where there is history and culture, it's very similar to that. The beaches are nice. You can go there as an experience one time, but I wouldn't really recommend it as much as I would recommend some other country.
Perfect answers. There is one more question with a comment. I always wanted to visit Monaco for watching the F1 Grand Prix. Apart from that, what are the tourism attractive places there?
If you want to watch F1, it's going to happen in Singapore this year. So you can
Go there.
you can just book your tickets. I think unless you really want to go to Monaco. But attractive places in Monaco, I'm not sure what you get there. I'm not really sure. Sorry, Satya.
No problem. We will visit Singapore. So, we have almost come to an end for this beautiful webinar. And if audience have more questions to ask, they're open. You can unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah, actually, I have a question, Kadambari.
Yes.
Like you travel to a lot of places, and simultaneously you maintain your social media account so beautifully, and like it's always like updated. So how do you manage both of the things at the same time, like being to that place and traveling and enjoying the thing, and also creating the content for your social media handles?
Uh,
Do you
so
have-
yeah. So
yeah, I was asking, like, do you have a team for that, or like how do you manage?
I definitely don't have a team, but I always pre-plan it. So if I'm traveling to Thailand next week, I know that I'm going to Koh Samui and what places I'm going to visit there, and this is what I can create for my audience from Koh Samui. And if I'm going to a beach on day one, I will give aside, let's say, an hour for photography. Hour is also a lot. Photography and videos, but not a lot more than that. Because as a traveler, you and a content creator, you need to have that balance. You can't just be, addicted to creating content all the time. You also need to observe and take in everything, but at the same time you're creating content, so you take photos, you create drafts, you keep them, or you write, make a list of it and follow it, and create a calendar where you know on Thursday I'm going to post a reel, on Saturday I'm going to do a post. And when it comes to story, just post one story per day if you can. If you cannot, it's totally fine. Just convey to your your audience that I am traveling right now, I will be back in a day or two. So it's just about pre-planning everything.
Yeah, very correctly and like perfectly answered, because it's really important to enjoy the place apart from creating the content for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks a lot for informing that.
Now I'm
You're
seeing a
welcome.
very good manager in you.
Sorry?
I'm seeing a very good manager in you. You managed everything so perfectly and smoothly.
I'm trying. I try my level best.
You are trying your best, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you.
There is one more question from my side. How it has been working with Singapore tourism webinar? What were the deliverables you need to focus for a content creator, as a content creator?
You mean to say what, like the deliverable time is
Yeah.
like, oh, it can be anything. For example, they can come to you and say, I want an article in 2 days. It is urgent. And that's a life of content creator, right? Unless you already have ample on your plate and you want to say no to it. A lot of the times to these brands you don't want to say no, so you just have to juggle with other work and sit down. So I sometimes just sit down at night after and write down an article and send it to them. So you really have to stick to their deliverable time because it's very important for them. For example, if there's a festival coming up, they need to advertise it to tourists, and it's going to happen through you. So you have to take that extremely seriously and stick to it. That is how the brands are going to take you seriously. Yeah. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, it
Hello.
is. Yes, sir.
I have a question on travel to the jungles of Sumatra and Borneo. Have you been over there? The wildlife and the forests.
Not really. I have heard about them, and it is quite challenging, to be honest, to travel
What
to
are the
some.
challenges?
It's the planning. It's a lack of tourism. Is you don't. It's not as developed as the other parts of Indonesia are. So as long as you're an adventure traveler or a backpacker, that would really suit you. But if you're somebody who doesn't want to go through the hurdle of not having all the amenities by your side or not having a lot of tourists and the safety, I would suggest for families or as solo travelers, it's a bit risky.
No, I want to explore the unexplored areas so far. I think Borneo and Sumatra jungles have fantastic wildlife and also environment. Is that right?
Yes, that is true. Indonesia is blessed with abundant nature and forest and environment. But I would suggest you connect with somebody who's a local there. And if you want to explore the forest, which are untouched, it could be for photography or just for leisure. You make sure that you are with a local or with a trusted agency or a tourism company.
But tell me, how safe is Indonesia as a country for Indians?
Oh, it is extremely safe. It is safe. But I would
See,
say the safest is Bali.
except Bali and Jakarta, because that is the run of the mill. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk of something which is not run of the mill. How then do we do that?
Again, you need to have a trusted source with you and a local when you go to these places, because very few Indians go there, and you need to do your research because these places are not very well traveled by Indians, and it can be hard for us in terms of food or in terms of understanding. But you ask somebody who's an adventure traveler, I would highly recommend, but you need to be safe because these places are not very well traveled by everybody.
Yeah, these are still untouched by most Indians. Is that right?
Yes, that's true.
And that's where the challenge lies, to go
Yes,
far when less people have gone.
yes, that's true.
I'm the person of that temperament
That's amazing. Yeah, we need travelers like that too.
because Bali is now almost like Goa for Indians.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, it's a version of Goa, but it depends on what you want to do. Like if
Goa
you're
plus Goa plus Hindu temples.
not, yeah, but it really depends. If you're only going to party, okay, you will feel like it's Goa. If you only go for temples, you will feel like I'm in a religious place. But there's also other side of Bali where you can do slow travel and relax and work there and create connections.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're
Do
welcome.
you plan to go to Sumatra or Borneo anytime? Let me
Uh,
know
oh, okay, sure, definitely.
because I'm sure you're also aching for new adventures, not just the run of the mill types. Jaipur,
That's
Agra, Pushkar, sab karte hain.
that's true. Yes,
Ma'am, thanks a lot.
you're
Thank you.
welcome.
So we will take one last question from Ananya as we are running out of the time. So sorry. In the context of your social media, I wanted to ask which app do you use for photos and reels editing?
So when it comes to social media, which app? Photoshop, yes, but I do not like editing my photos a lot because it takes away a sort of a natural connection that we have from the place. Only a few edits here and there, which you can do even in your camera edits, honestly, like contrast and light, but not over editing. I really don't support that. And
And what
reels.
camera do you use?
Oh, I use Nikon D3300 or I use my iPhone when I am lazy to carry my camera around.
300 lens.
Just the normal lens because I'm not into wildlife photography.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Um,
Also,
can
please
can
let
I
me
can I ask a question too? Like if there's a time,
Go ahead.
like it's something related. So I've been wondering to go to Spiti Valley since a long time. So and can you just tell me about something related to Spiti Valley and around that? Like what are the places that can be explored there? Like so how can I go from actually Delhi to Spiti Valley and etc. So if there's
Spiti
anything.
Valley, a lot of people love to go on bike trips.
Okay. But by what research with my research is basically what I found key. I mean, there's also mean of transportation by you can go by the bus, but
Yeah, you
but the
can go by
bus
bus.
but the main hectic with the bus is that the bus only goes. I mean the timing is only two buses at a day. So
Yeah,
basically that
that's very few. So I would actually suggest if for Spiti, if you can go with a group of friends, you can rather hire a car and go there. That is much easier. But for bus, it's very less because that's one place. I mean, tourists are traveling a lot more to Spiti, but that's one place which is not very, very well connected, especially to the inner side places. So best is you go with somebody or go on a bike trip. But petrol rates are too high now. So I wouldn't suggest that.
yeah. So also there's a platform called Workaway, so which basically I mean offers you to work for the accommodation where you're staying, basically for the people where you're staying, and they offer you free food and accommodation basically in
Mm-hmm.
exchange of the work you do. So will that be a good idea to do in
Yes,
Spiti Valley?
definitely. But do your research. Make sure that it's a good place where they treat you well. Try and see reviews on Google. But that is a great way to contribute to the local tourism. Also, you learn a lot because you are living with locals essentially. So that's a great way to learn.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
So we have come to an end to this beautiful, amazing webinar. I hope I promised you in the beginning that it won't be boring. So I hope it wasn't so boring. And thank you so much, Kadambari, for to be very honest right now. Like after interviewing you right now, is that I'm very inspired from you. You are a very good manager, a free bird, adventurous, and you have patiently answered all the questions and queries. And it's so lovely to have you right now. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I know it was your weekend, but yes, I hope it went well.
Thanks, Katika. That's very perfect. And I really hope that helps somewhere or the other to everyone who's joined today. And thanks for joining. I mean, it's really nice to see and connect with fellow travelers and creators and give my 2 cents of whatever I have learned from this journey. I can very well say that if you stay consistent and work hard, you will do well. And there are many ways nowadays. Thankfully, there are many ways and companies that will help you to earn and become a successful content creator.
Hope you to see you next time with more interesting and amazing topics.
I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot, Kadambari, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thanks, Ishita. Thanks, everyone. Happy weekend.
Yeah, and thank you everyone.